He's a state rep from New Fairfield, Pat Callahan on the phone.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Good morning, guys. Good to be here.
It's good to have
Thanks
you.
for coming on with us.
I was thinking about you because, you know, we've had you on the show a bunch, and I read about your work in the newspaper, and everything I read is that, you know, everybody gets along. You do a lot of bipartisan work. It seems that everybody seems to like you and gravitate to you. So I'm calling for you to run for governor already.
I got one problem: is I'm not rich.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, that's a stumbling block. Yeah, we'll work on it.
But I appreciate the vote of confidence. Hey, part of the battle is don't be a jerk. You know.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Is it illegal if we sponsor it by Powerade? We get Powerade to pay you for your campaign?
I think it is. I think the State Election Commission has something to say about that.
Yeah. So let's see here. We wanted to talk about electric vehicles. Governor Lamont pulled his plan that was going to mandate that we go to all electric vehicles by 2035. And even idiots like us were sitting here, you know, months ago saying, I don't think we're ready. What happened here?
Well, here's what the process was. You know what's going on here. Biden tells his Democrat governors, push my policies. So Governor Lamont and the commissioner of DEP are pushing the policies. So the way it works, back in 2002, I believe, there was a vote by the full legislature before I got there about we're going to follow California regs, which in itself is, I think, crazy because you, me, and all my constituents didn't vote for anyone in California.
Right.
So it goes to a committee, regulations review, 7 Democrats, 7 Republicans. All the Republicans were voting no because it's a stupid plan. And so the 7 Democrats, out of them, a couple of them balked. So rather than have the committee vote and put any of them on record as approving of it, the governor just pulled it because he didn't have the votes.
Oh, so he didn't want to egg on his face situation.
Correct. Or any of his Democrat reps didn't want to force a vote on them. But now it's going to go to the full legislature, which is where it should be, guys, because now it'll go through Energy and Technology Committee, which is Billy Buckby, and it'll go through the Environment Committee, which is me and Steve Harding as ranking members. And now it can be fully vetted. And I plan on having a lot to say about this because there's just no way this could work in Connecticut.
Yeah, our listeners were very vocal about this. Anytime we talked about it, they were messaging us and saying that Power Grid can't support this. I was doing an article the other day about actual EV, places where I could go charge a car, how many we have throughout the state of Connecticut. It just seems like we're not ready. Is that the case?
It certainly is the case, and here's the thing: when first of all, just the amount of elements it takes to make a battery, you're talking 1,000 pounds of elements plus processing, sulfuric acid, everything else, to make 1,000-pound battery for a car. And then where do you get the power to charge the car? From fossil fuels.
So the carbon footprint is almost as bad.
Well, it takes just to make the car and to recoup the tailpipe emissions that, in comparison to a combustion engine, it takes 8 years. So now you're talking, we have to charge all these cars. When you plug in your car at night at your house, it's going to double your output of electricity from your house, double the draw. So now you're going to plug in 2 of them. Now you, like I said in a press conference at the Capitol a couple weeks ago, you're going to be blowing up transformers on the street because their fuses can't handle it, and they're meant to air cool at night. So it's just not going to work. And frankly, the tactics of the other side are scare tactics. I wrote a couple articles for Connecticut papers, which of course they wouldn't print, and but they printed the other side, and it's all scare tactics.
You should send them to us. We'll print anything.
We'll print anything you say.
I got it from you guys.
Go ahead.
You probably recall an Oscar-winning movie about all the doom and gloom by a guy named Al Gore, and none of it came true.
Yeah.
And then we also have this countdown to doom clock in Manhattan. None of these predictions ever come true. I'm not saying you and I don't want a clean environment. Of course we do. But this certainly isn't the ticket. Why don't we try and get some affordable electricity to start so people actually want to buy something powered by electricity?
Isn't that the point that ruins everything? Like if you come out against something like this, it automatically means you're against the environment when you're just kind of going through the actual steps and saying, is this really helping the environment?
Correct. And my dad taught me at a young age, once you get into name calling, you lost the argument. So once they start with the name calling and accusations, it's not a productive discussion. So I actually had a meeting after I testified against the EVs in a DEP hearing. I had a follow-up meeting with them, and one of the guys at DEP said, well, I said, it takes so long to charge your battery, and what if you have to wait in line? He goes, well, you should just plan your day around it.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Brilliant. That's
Wow. Yeah, I did some research into these charging levels. So there's all sorts of levels. Say you get a more inexpensive one, like a level 1 or 2. You could be talking, let's say a level 2, plugging your vehicle into a 240-volt electrical outlet, which is like the port you have for your washing machine. Mm-hmm. That takes from 3 to 6 hours to fully charge a dead battery. Mm-hmm. And not everybody's going to be able to afford the level 3 or the Tesla supercharger. So there's a lot of problems.
There's a lot of, and you bring up a good point with that, is at the different levels of chargers also have a depletion factor on the life of the battery. So if you use fast chargers all the time, it'll deplete, like your phone. You're constantly charging your phone and you use fast chargers. They make these phones to die after a certain number of years, so you have to buy another. So it's the same principle. And not to mention weather factors here in New England with the cold weather in the winter, and that depletes the battery.
That's why nipples get really hard in the cold. So now I'm going to be standing out in front of the Danbury Mall with rock hard nipples.
I don't want to hear about your nipples. Well, that's what we see now at the Danbury Mall with the Tesla superchargers. You see 3, 4 people, 5 people lined up, standing around for 2-3 hours waiting for their cars to charge. Multiply that by 3 million people.
Yeah,
it can't happen.
Next thing you know, you're going to have fights at these chargers. I drove. I hate I-95, but I drove up I-95 to go visit my son in Stanford the other day, and imagine the I-95 rest area between Darien and Stanford with people waiting to charge, and you've got little kids in the car, and say it's real hot or real cold. People are going to. Can I go ahead of you? I have kids in the car. Next thing you know, we're going to have fists flying.
Yep.
I don't see how it's going to work. Why don't we? If people out there want to buy an EV, more power to you. If you don't want an EV, more power to you. Just don't tell me how to live my life, and don't tell my constituents how they have to live their lives.
I have a solution.
Yeah, go.
Go. An electric scooter.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Good talking to you guys. We'll see you.
We'll talk to you soon.